Okay, we're live. Not really live, we're recording.
Okay.
We have my cousin with me.
Sup, I'm making my bed, so if you hear ruffling, don't mind that.
Okay. The third mother...
Her parents kept walking in, so... Yeah, she's very angry. She's like concentrating right now, so don't mind.
Okay, we should continue. We'll do the headcanons and then the what if. So, sorry if the video's a bit shorter, because I'm probably going to speed run this because I am that tired. Okay, my headcanons. Izuku before being blinded, yes, we are starting at the very top. Izuku before being blinded, he played the violin since Wilbur played the guitar, and even when he's blind, he plays it, but less complicated songs. Izuku has matching emeralds like the rest of his family. Philza, Techno, and Wilbur. I know only Philza, Techno, and Wilbur only have them, but what the fuck? It's mine. Izuku, the bandana that Tubbo and Tommy wears in the actual canon, I'm pretty sure, was drenched in blood by Tubbo's sacrifice during, like, the attack that Techno did.
Sadly.
So, it was drenched in blood, and it always even though in, like, the canon where, like, Izuku is Tommy, it still smells like blood, even though they've never had blood on it before. Okay. Izuku being blind is more quiet out of necessity because if he was too loud, he could overlook an attacker close by. Izuku has trained with Techno to train his instincts so he can live normally. Tubbo normally helps Izuku if he can't do something correctly or can't do it at all, like writing. Even being blinded, he still helps Tubbo with his dyslexia, and instead of reading it, he asks Tubbo to spell it out for him, giving him the right pronunciation and definition. Izuku doesn't use a cane or stick, he uses sound and vibrations, but occasionally he'll use it to make a point that he's blind. He never told anyone this, but he's insecure about his eyes and not what they look like, but how he's just staring at you, not knowing where you are, or eye contact. Izuku has learned to read Braille, and it was fairly easy for him. For the first few months of being blind, it was hard, but when he would always go outside so he can practice, it became one of his habits, even after completing his training. When Izuku is bored, he tries to braid Techno's hair, even though he can't see, but it turns out okay in the end. Izuku likes being off the ground because he can't hear vibrations since it's half of his sensory he's losing, but sometimes it leads to a panic attack if it's unexpected or forcefully. Izuku, when he's alone in crowds, he'll go somewhere far away from the crowd, but if no one else is, he will go sit on the ground and put his knees to his face and concentrate to hear anything. Izuku records his sessions in school when he goes back to school, and records the most important details at home with his own voice, like notes, and carries it with him at all times. Little noises scare Izuku. Even when he knows it's not hostile, he will flinch, at least a little bit. When Izuku hears a similar explosion to the one that was done on purpose, because it reminded him of the time when he was blinded, because he wasn't originally blind, he was blinded by an explosion that went on his face that we will discuss after we're done with the headcanons. And if it's done on purpose, he'll get angry and attack the person who did it. This is foreshadowing. You know who. Izuku always carries bandages with him to replace the ones on his face when they're worn out. Izuku is constantly carries painkillers because the scars on his face ache a lot, but not frequently. Maybe this is a better description. More like this. The scars are like this. Izuku is constantly with Tubbo since he's kind of his eyes in a metaphor of some way. Where were we? Izuku and Tubbo has the compasses and they turned them into necklaces, but the one thing they don't know is that they were lockets that has their photo inside and a music box that plays their song or their theme. You can just place one in the comments, I don't mind. I could play it or not. Depends how I feel. At least one of Tubbo's bees are near Izuku at all times. When Izuku has a long day, Tubbo lets him listen to music without headphones since he knows it would block his sensory ability since sound is how he senses around him. Tubbo knows this and he always just leaves his phone on the desk or something, and while the song is playing, he makes snacks or even dinner at times. Izuku's favorite time of the year is winter or autumn, since the footsteps are even louder and he can hear them better. Even in Izuku, everything in Izuku's house is wood or something hard, or soft surfaces that can be into loud sounds, since it's more of a sensory kind of thing. Okay. Izuku has wings but doesn't use them and just hides them. Izuku likes to hide himself in Phil's wings because they're soft as hell. Izuku, when he's comfortable, will disconnect by putting his feet in the air, like Toph from The Last Airbender. Yes. Izuku likes to steal Techno's cape and wears it, and usually tires himself out and sleeps in Techno's bed. Izuku has to have someone or something with him or next to him while he's sleeping, and everyone thinks it's adorable, but Izuku just finds it embarrassing. Izuku needs someone around him since he doesn't like to be alone. Izuku is half British, half Japanese. I will not be doing a British accent.
Excellent.
Shut up.
Sorry.
Okay.
Can you give me my duck?
Where's your dog?
He's in the top drawer.
There you go. You're just like a child. Okay. Now on to the what if. Izuku is born with blonde hair and blue eyes and freckles. Izuku is held by his father Philza and opens his eyes to see Philza and his two brothers, Wilbur and Techno. Izuku giggles and reaches out for his father and his brothers, and is adored by his family, and gets a childhood friend called Tubbo, and they get along swell. Izuku, when he's 4, he plays hide and seek with Tubbo, and he said, "Datsa, hide me!" Philza says, "Did you do something?" Izuku says, "No, me and Tubbo are playing hide and go seek." Philza says, "Okay, what do you need?" Izuku says, "Hide me." Philza said, "Okay then." Philza then spreads his wings like a little opening. Izuku jumps inside in the back and out of sight. And Philza continues with his day, reading a book or something. When Tubbo comes out to look for Izuku, he looks everywhere for at least an hour until he asks Philza, "Mr. Philza?" He says, "Yes." Tubbo says, "Do you know where Tommy is? Because I give up." Izuku jumps out and, wait, did I say? I think I skipped one of them.
No, you didn't. Pretty sure. You read pretty fast, so I couldn't really keep up.
Yeah, I skipped, yeah. His full name is Izuku, Tommyinit Minecraft. Tubbo calls him Tommy instead of Izuku because it starts with a T and is closer to his name, and mostly everyone calls him Tommy. And even he forgets his real name sometimes. Okay, back to the what if. Let's see.
He was,
Yes. Yeah. I found it. Mr. Philza, did you need something? Where's Tommy? Because I give up. Jumps out and
That's where you're at.
On Tubbo. Okay. He yells, "Ha! I win!"
No,
Tubbo says,
you didn't read where the point that he pounces on Tubbo.
yeah, he jumps on Tubbo.
Mm-hmm.
And Tubbo says, "Wait, you weren't his wings? Why didn't I think of that?" Tubbo says, "Because I'm fucking awesome." And he gets chopped on the head by Filza. And he says, "Ow." Tubbo then says, "Do you want to play outside?" Izuku says, "Hell yeah!" And they run outside and continue to run around and play with each other in the forest. They then find a bench, and that was on a cliff. It has a beautiful sight of Masutafu, which is the city that is in canon where Izuku lives. Izuku and Tubbo decide to carve their name into the bench and sit on it and admire the view and call it theirs. When Izuku was 14, he was caught in an incident with a hero and a villain that had an igniting quirk and lit an explosion that Izuku was close to and went out in his face. Sadly, he didn't pass out because he didn't pass out, and the pain was excruciating. Okay. And he tried to look for Phil, or Techno, or Tubbo, or even Wilbur, but he couldn't see anything, and due to everything going on, only a few people noticed. Phil then found him and said, "Tommy, are you alright? Are you okay? Can you hear me?" Izuku says, "Dad, I can't see you." Tear comes down his face, and Phil carries him home quickly. When they get home, Techno gets some medicine, puts it on his face, and wraps bandages around his face. Izuku, after being so tired, passes out from exhaustion. Phil picks him up and puts him on his bed, and Tubbo stays with him until he wakes up. Okay, Izuku's POV. I'm gonna switch to a different. This one. Okay. I felt that it opened my eyes, but all I could see was nothing. I lifted my hand, but I couldn't see it. I lifted my body and felt a hand around my other hand. I tried to find out who it is, and I stared at the wall. I heard some buzzing, and it was an insect. I found it was two of Tubbo's bees. I stared at the wall and I guessed it was Tubbo. I said, "Tubbo, is that you?" I heard the movement and felt Tubbo hug me, and I hugged him back. Tubbo then got off me, and I knew he was looking at my bandages around my eyes because of his silence. At that moment, I felt an aching pain around my eyes and my eyes themselves. I held my face, and Tubbo said, "Are you okay?" Izuku says, I say, "I'm okay, just hurts a little bit." Tubbo sighs and says, "I'm glad that it's not that bad." I put my hand out, reaching for Tubbo, and he grabs my hand and puts it on his head. I ruffle his hair and I smile, and judging by his laughter, he was smiling too. With my underhand, I grab the bed and say, "Where's Filza? Techno and Wilbur, are they home?" Tubbo says, "Yeah, they're home. It's just late, so they're all asleep." I say, "Oh, okay." Tubbo says, "Well, good night." Tubbo puts his hand under my head and slowly puts it back to my pillow. He then says, "When you wake up, just yell for me, okay? Good night." I reply, "Good night, Tubbo." I then closed my eyes, but that didn't do much for my sight, and went to sleep. The next morning, I woke up and opened my eyes, but did nothing for my blindness. And I felt the warm sun beating on my skin and the wind blowing through the window. I tried to get up and find my surroundings, and while holding on to things that I knew were around, I got to the window, feeling the cold wind on my face, not flinching a bit when a leaf went by, because I didn't notice. I hear the creaking door open and heard a voice of Tubbo. He said, Tommy, you're awake. Let me help you get to the table for breakfast. Tubbo's steps come closer, and I feel him grab my arm and lead me to the table. I assume a chair pulling up, and Tubbo guides my hand to what seemed to be the right side of it. Tubbo guides me to my chair and sits me down. I tap my hands to find the silverware, and I do. I say, "What are we eating?" Filza says, "We're eating some pancakes, eggs, and sausage, your favorite." I smile that it's my favorite and try to find my food on my plate and eat. I don't go to school for the next month or two and get comfortable with being blind. In the first month, I train with techno to get used to my surroundings and instincts. After a month and 2 weeks, I got it. It was like seeing vibrations and sound. It was amazing, but weird. During the training, I would go outside and hear the wind, water, and animals nearby to train, and it became my habit. For the rest of the time, for the first time, went to the market alone and had a while before I got there. I had to go through a hiking trail to the city, but I took a walking stick. Apologies, that was my father.
That scared the living crap out of me.
He did too. Okay, where were we? Okay. Right now, I'm walking back home to give the groceries to Dad to make some food for tonight. As I'm walking home out in the city, I notice I don't recognize this part, and I assume I got lost. I hear the sound around me, and I get a bit tense. I go to the side and try to remember where to turn, and am debating if I should call Filza and let him know that I'll be late. But then I notice footsteps and a heartbeat coming closer to me. They say, "Are you lost?" I don't look in the direction of the stranger's voice and say, "Yes." The voice says, "Oh, I could lead you home." I just say, "I just need help to the edge of town." Oh, okay. I just need help to the edge of town, that's it. The person says, "Oh, I know where that is. Follow me." I follow the moving sound closely, but not trusting this person. I recognize the path and say, "I'm good here. I can get the rest of the way." The voice says, "But we aren't even at the edge of town yet." They seem to be persistent, not wanting me to leave, even though I noticed we were going at the other end instead of the right way. I say, "It's fine. I recognize the place to go." I then walk quickly away, but I still feel the person following me. I took some turns, and to my understanding, I lost them. I then went for the trail and walked home, and cut through some woods just in case they were still following me, and made it back home. There we go. We got through it without any verbal interruption. Hell yeah. Just a little one. Okay. I'm probably gonna do my Filza what if soon, so don't worry about it. And if you want any suggestions, just put them in the comments. And have a nice day, night, or afternoon.
Bye.